Assalamu alaikum, my beloved students. Students, this is going to be the final lecture on chapter 2.3, and this is going to be lecture number 10 on the series of ongoing lectures for the students of class 7. Dear students, in this lecture, I am going to be solving some creative questions based on chapter 2.3, and then I'm going to solve some previously assigned homeworks. And if you have any query regarding these 4 lectures, including this one, you can let me know by writing it in a copy and then taking a picture, and you can send the picture to me in my WhatsApp number. And your time for sending those copies is every Thursday night from 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. I am free to see your copies. Okay, students, so without further delay, let us get started with our lecture. So here it begins. So a piece of ornament is made by mixing bronze, zinc and silver. In that piece of ornament, the ratio of bronze and zinc is 1:2. And the ratio of zinc and silver is 3:5. The weight of the ornament is 190 grams. Well, I have taken this question from your textbook, and it is 25 numbered in your textbook exercise 2.3. So our first question is, we need to determine the ratio of bronze, zinc and silver. And the second question is, determine the weights of bronze, zinc and silver in the ornament separately. That's a nice question. The third one is a little bit tricky. What is the amount of zinc that is to be mixed in the ornament so that the ratio of bronze and zinc will be 1:3? So this one is a very beautiful question, but rather an easy one. None of them are complicated. 1, 2, 3. You can many of us can solve it just by looking at the problem. Okay, I believe that. So let us first solve the first question. Determine the ratio of bronze, zinc and silver, and the ratio of bronze and zinc is given, and you can see that it is 1:2. Okay, then I have multiplied the whole ratio by 3 to get 3:6. Now from the second ratio, you might be you might not be wondering there why I multiplied the first ratio by 3, because you all know it, right? And for the same reason, I multiplied the second ratio by 2 to get 6:10. Okay, so if I combine those, then bronze, zinc and silver will be 3:6:10. That's the question. That's a very beautiful, and it actually works for question number A. Okay, it fits into for number 2. That's cool. So let's solve for the next one. Actually, there is some mistake over there. From 1 we get bronze, zinc and silver is 3:6:10. It should be there, it should be 10. Let me take the pen tool, by the way. Okay, let me take the pen tool, and it should be 10 over there, right? Okay, now sum of the numbers of the ratio is equals to 3 plus 6 plus 10, and it is 19. So what we need to do, and we actually need to find the weight of bronze, and the bronze is the first one. So 3 divided by 19, parts of 190 grams, and 190 grams is actually a given condition. So from that one we get the weight of bronze is 30 grams. For similarly, the weight of zinc can be derived by 6 divided by 19, parts of 190 grams, and the weight of silver is as follows, 100 grams. So we are done. Hence, in the mixture, the weight of bronze, zinc and silver are 30 grams, 60 grams and 100 grams respectively. And if you add those up, 100 plus 60 plus 30, it adds up to 190 gram, the total amount. So students, let us jump forward to our next question. And this is question number C, by the way. The ratio of bronze and zinc, it is to be made 1:3. That means bronze over zinc is actually 1/3. That means zinc, the quantity of zinc is actually 3 times the quantity of bronze, and the quantity of bronze is 30 grams from the previous slide, right? So 3 times 30 equals to 90 grams. And by the way, from the previous slide we actually have the quantity of zinc 60, right? So the weight of zinc to be mixed is 90 minus 60 and it is 30 grams. Okay. Students, this is our next question. Russell is a watch seller. He sold a watch at Taka 625 at a loss of 10%. And what was the loss after selling the watch? And the second question is, what is the buying price of the watch? And the third question is, what would be the price of the watch if a profit of 10% is to be gained by selling it? Okay. Let us answer the first question. What was the loss after selling the watch? What was the loss after selling the watch? So at 10% loss, the cost price is Taka 100. If the cost price is Taka 100, and you can all know that the selling price is Taka 90, right? So there is a loss of Taka 10. That means for Taka 90, there is actually a loss of Taka 10. So for Taka 1, there is a loss of Taka 10 over 90. And you sold that thing actually at 625. So for Taka 625, the loss is actually 625 over 9. Okay, that's cool. So let us go for the next question. What is the buying price of the watch? So as you can see, at 10% loss, the cost price, if the cost price is stuck at 100, then the selling price is obviously stuck at 90, right? So if the selling price is stuck at 90, then the cost price is 100. If the selling price is 1, then the cost price is stuck at 100 over 90. And if the selling price is stuck at 625, then the cost price is actually 6250 over 9. That's the most basic questions. Actually, I remember those questions. I solved them in chapter 2.2 video lecture. See, I think you should all be remembering that I actually solved those questions. Okay. And this is the third and the final question. From B, we actually get the cost price is Taka 6250 over 9. So according to the question, there is a profit of 10%. Well, that means if the cost price is Taka 100, then the selling price should be Taka 110. So when the cost price is Taka 100, the selling price is Taka 110. When the cost price is Taka 1, then the selling price is Taka 110 over 100. And we have our cost price from question B, and it is 6250 over 9. Then the selling price is 110 over 100 times 6250 over 9, and it is 6875 over 9. That's the most basic question. I did not actually put any animation over there. That's so simple. So students, let us now solve a problem that I have taken from your previously assigned homeworks, and I think this one is a little bit complicated for most of you. So we first what we do actually, we first need to understand the question first. Okay, so 12 men can complete a work in 16 days. 8 days after they started working, 4 men joined them. That means for 8 days they actually worked, right? So 4 men joined them. How many days will all of them take to finish the remaining work? Well, there is actually a way. I told you to solve these kind of problems in that way. And the process is, suppose you and me can do a work in 2 days, so in one day. Okay, suppose you and me, you are my student and I am your teacher, we too can do a work in one day. Say for example, I do not work for today, then you can do it in 2 days, right? For if two men can do it in one day, that means if one man can do it in 2 days. Say for example, if two men can do it in 3 days, that means 6 men can do it in 1 day. Means one man can 2 days, that means two men can 1 days. So 12 men can complete a work in 16 days. That means 12 into 16 men can complete a work in 1 day. That's what I'm trying to telling you, that say for example, I and me and you can complete a work in 4 days. Say for example, that means you can only complete the work in 8 days, right? Okay. So 12 men can complete a work in 16 days. So 8 days after they started working, 4 men joined them. How many days will all of them take to finish the remaining work? That's the question. Okay. 12 times 16 men can complete the work in 1 day. That's the basic idea. So 1 man's 1 day work equals to 1 divided by 12 times 16 equal to 1 divided by 192 part. This is actually the process I told you. Okay, don't do the otherwise, then you will be get caught if I change the question. Okay, as you are caught in question number C of your half yearly exam. Okay, 1 man's 1 day work. Okay, 12 men actually worked for 8 days, so 12 man's 1 day work is actually 1 divided by 16. Okay, so 8 days after they started working, 4 men joined them. Okay, first we must determine what is the remaining work actually. So and then 12 men's 8-day work is actually 1 divided by 16 times 8 equals to 1 divided by 12 part. And now the remaining work is 1 minus 1 divided by 2, and it is 1 divided by 2. That means for 8 days that those 12 men actually completed 50% of the work, and the remaining work is 50%. Now we have 12 plus 4 men. That means we have actually 4 additional men. That actually makes the total number of men 16. So 16 man's 1 day work is actually 16 over 192, as we have 1 man's 1 day work equal to 1 divided by 192, but we now have 16 men, so we must need to determine 16 man's 1 day work, and that is why I multiplied 1 divided by 192 by 16 to get 1 divided by 12 part. So 1 divided by 12 part can be done by 16 men in 1 day, and we need to determine 1 divided by 2 part. Okay, so as you can see, 1 divided by 12 part can be done by them in 1 day, so 1 part can be done by them in 12 days, and the remaining job was 1 divided by 2, that means 50%. So 1 divided by 2 part can be done by them in 6 days. As you can see, they're so simple, and this is actually one of my favorite problems, and I can change that problem, so keep this in mind. And I have done 2 similar problems regarding this. One is from your textbook, and this one I have made it this one. Okay, so okay, if you do not understand it, you should let me know by the comment section or by my WhatsApp number. Okay, thank you. Let us go for our next problem. Okay, now, well, these are such type of problems. Actually, many mathematicians call them chain rule problems, because it actually works like a chain, right? A farmer can cultivate 40 hectares of land in 8 days with 5 pairs of cows. With 7 pairs of cows, how many hectares of land can be cultivated? Can he cultivate in 12 days? This is math number 20. That means, according to the question, in 8 days, a farmer with 5 pairs of cows can cultivate 40 hectares of land. Okay, from the first line, he can cultivate 40 hectares of land in 8 days with 5 pair of cows. So in 8 days, a farmer with 5 pair of cows can cultivate 40 hectares of land. Well, I placed 40 hectares of land in the right, as the question actually suggests me how many hectares of land. Well, they actually need us to find hectares of land, so that is why I substituted the 40 hectares of land on my right. This is the process of solving maths that are in chain rule. So in the second line, you can see that in 1 day, a farmer with 5 pair of cows can cultivate 40 divided by 8 hectares of land. This time I need to divide 40 by 8, because previously we had 8 days. So when we are in 1 day, that means the property would be much less than the previous one. So in 12 days, say for example, previously you had 1 day, now you are having 12 days. So your part of land will be much higher, so I need to multiply this time. 40 divided by 8 times 12 hectares of land. Okay, now the question is with 7 pairs of cows. Okay, with 7 pairs of cows. So in 12 days, say for example, if I have 1 pair of cows with instead of 5 pair of cows, if I have 1 pair of cows, then my cultivable land will be decreased. That means the job that I can do with 5 pair of cows is much higher than the job I can do with 1 pair of cows. So I must divide 12 by 5 hectares of land, because when I'm with 1 pair of cow, my cultivable land will be much less than when I have 5 pairs of cow. That is why I actually divided 12 over 5. And now the question is with 7 pair of cows in 12 days. So I just replace now this time 1 by 7 to get our 84 hectares of land. This time I should multiply 7, not divide 7, right? Because when you have 1 pair of cows and when you have 7 pair of cows, this time your cultivated land will be much higher than the previous one. That is why I product that 7 with 12 divided by 5, and if you simplify this, it will be 84 hectares of land. Thank you. Okay, students, see another interesting problem, and this is actually also a chain rule problem, and this is 11 number problem of your book. 5 workers can reap crops of land of 8 biga of fields in 6 days. How many days will 25 workers need to reap the land of 20 biga? Biga is the unit of land, I think. So 5 workers can reap crops of land in of 8 bigas in 6 days. Okay, 5 workers can reap crops of land of 8 biga in 6 days, and the question is how many days. That is why I placed that 6 day on my right. So for 1 worker can reap crops of the land of 8 biga in. So if you are having 5 workers, then the job will be much higher than when you have 1 worker, right? That means when you have 1 worker, you cannot do it in 6 days. Well, you need more days. That is why I multiplied 6 by 5, 6 by 5 days, right? Now 1 worker can reap crops of the land of 1 biga. Say for example, when you are having 8 biga, then you need more days. When you are having 1 biga, then you need much less days. That is why I divided 6 times 5 by 8. Okay, now instead of 1 worker, now I am having 25 workers can reap the crops of land of 1 biga in 6 times 5 divided by 8 times 25. Now what do you think? Should I divide by 25 or should I multiply by 25? I have divided it by 25 as when I have actually 1 worker, then I'm gonna need these days. 6 times 5 divided by 8. Well, if I have more workers, then the days will be less than when I have 1 worker. Okay, so when I have more workers, then the time will be much less than the previous one. That is why actually I divided it, because this quantity must be less than that quantity. Okay, so okay, let us go to that one. So how many days will 25 workers need to reap, or 20 biga? That means I need to replace that 1 biga by 20 biga, right? So 25 workers can reap crops of land of 20 bigas in 6 times 5 divided by 8 times 25 times 20 equals 3 days. Students, as you can see, that problems that involves chain rules, actually these problems actually are not complicated, but you first the best way to solve these kind of problems is to understand the question first, what actually they are asking to you, and do accordingly. I mean, first understand the question first, do not get confused, and then solve for it. I think that is the best way. And you should remember one thing, there, when to multiply and when to divide. When your quantity is increased, then you need to multiply. When your quantity is decreased, you need to just divide. Okay, so keep that thing in mind if you want to cut a good mark in your exam. So that's it for today, and this is the fourth and final lecture of chapter 2.3. I hope you all enjoyed my 4 lectures. Well, by the way, for chapter 3 I am going to upload actually 3 more lectures, and chapter 3, our measurement, is a rather complicated chapter, I think, and there are many methods in chapter 3, and there is a the best way to understand chapter 3 is to see the video lectures, and parallelly you must read your textbook for better understanding of chapter 3. So okay students, assalamu alaikum. I hope you enjoyed the lecture. See you in my next video lecture. Okay, goodbye.